Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Natalie Brooke and I'm a stay-at-home wife and soon-to-be mother here in about 2 months. If there are any truck noises in this video, I'm sorry. My house is pretty close to a main road and large trucks go down it all the time. So I'm gonna try to stop if one is passing, but I can't make any promises. If you see this equipment to the side of me, that's because I own a custom sugar cookie business and this is the stuff I use. But I'm also a travel agent and I specialize in booking Disney and Universal and other things, but I am a pass holder at Disney and Universal, which if you've been here for a little bit, you probably know that. I always post videos on packing and planning when I travel. This time I wanted to do it a little bit different and I wanted to have a separate video kind of deep diving into how I actually plan my Disney vacations. We are headed to Disney in 6 days and we're so excited. This trip is going to be very different for me as most of my family is going and there's a pretty broad range of Disney experience going with us. So everybody going on this trip is obviously me and my husband, both my parents, one of my brothers and his wife and their 7-year-old who has never been to Disney. My sister-in-law has also never been to Disney. My brother and my dad haven't been to Disney since probably 2004, 2005 when we went on our childhood trip. And then me and my mom went in 2016, so that was the last time that she went. And y'all know my husband went last year, so that was his first time going. He's a pro now. So like I said, we have a pretty decent variety of experience going on this trip. And I want to make sure that it's fun for everybody, the first timers and the Disney veterans, the people that want to ride the thrilling rides and the people that don't. So it's been a little bit challenging to plan this trip, but I think we've got it set and I cannot wait. So in this video, I'm going to be going through everything starting from booking your vacation to planning your park days and making your packing list. I will have another video coming up, probably the next video that gets posted. That is going to be our pack with me video and you'll get to see what all I bring to Disney. So yeah, let's do this. So obviously my first recommendation is that if you are not a type A personality, super planner, then you should probably hire a travel agent to do all of the booking process for you. I say that because yes, I am a travel agent, but also because I'm not really the person to use a travel agent because I am that type A personality. And I get that there are people out there who are like me and it is just easier for them to book it themselves. But some people out there, it's not as easy, and I think that those are the people that need travel agents. Also, you may be a type A personality, but maybe you haven't been to Disney in a really long time or you've never been, and that's also a time when I would say get the help from a travel agent. Like I said, I am one, so I can link my information down below if that interests you. So when you first start planning a trip to Disney or getting the idea in your head, maybe you want to go, the thing you need to do is have a good idea of when you want to travel. I have clients all the time come to me and say, oh, we don't really have specific dates when we want to travel, just give us the best deal. And so I find them some good deals and I send it over and they're like, oh, well, Sunny has fall break this week and we can't just pull them out of school. So some people will pull their kids out of school to travel, some people won't. And you kind of need to know which one you are. So if you know that your kid has a break coming up and that's when you have to go, then that's where you should start looking. For our trip, we knew that my niece needed to be on fall break when we go to Disney, so that is the week that we had to do it. I think that October is a great time of year to go, but obviously a lot of people do have fall break during October, so going kind of mid-October is a little tricky. I always like to go end of October or early October, but this time we're going kind of mid. So now that we know our dates, the next step is to decide where you want to stay. Disney has a ton of resorts on property and they range from super high-end to very basic resorts. Like I said, this trip was kind of tricky to plan as we had 3 separate vacation packages being booked. Me and my husband are paying for ours, my brother and his wife are paying for theirs, and then my parents are paying for theirs. All 3 of us are getting separate rooms, and my parents are actually staying at a different resort. And honestly, this trip just got trickier as I kept planning, but we'll get into that. So my parents recently started RVing, and they were interested in staying at Fort Wilderness and parking their RV there. Since we're going near Halloween, if you don't know, Fort Wilderness is a very popular place to camp, and people decorate for Halloween, and they have golf cart parades and everything else. So when we first looked at this week that we knew we had to go, there was nothing available that would fit their RV in it. And at first we didn't think that the trip was going to work out. And quick plug for my travel agent business again, I just kept looking and looking for something available, and finally there was an RV slot available that would fit his, and I booked it immediately. So if you have a good travel agent and maybe she tells you, hey, like, I'm not seeing what exactly you're wanting, ask your agent if they can keep checking back to see if something comes available, and I'm sure they would be happy to do that. So last year when we went, me and my husband stayed at the Art of Animation Resort, and we loved it there. We loved being on the Skyliner. And I've heard great things about Pop Century. I've never stayed there, and I thought that this trip would be a good opportunity to do that. I asked my brother what he wanted to do, and they said that they would stay wherever we stay. So I booked their room at Pop Century, and I started to look into ours. Another bump in the road, I'm an annual pass holder, so it's a little bit different to book a vacation package, especially if you're doing dining, which we are. So I did end up having to call in to book our vacation package just so that I could get a room and dining package. And then I ended up having to book my husband's tickets separately, which, keep in mind, if you have to do that, you do have to pay up front for the tickets, and you'll just pay your down payment or deposit for the room. We did book preferred rooms because we wanted to be close to transportation. Like I said, I'm pregnant, so I don't want to have to walk super far to get to the Skyliner every morning. So if you're wanting to be close to transportation or the lobby or the amenities, I would highly recommend booking a preferred room. Once you've chosen your resort and your room category, then it's time to start choosing your add-ons. First thing to do is choose your tickets. Do you want base tickets? Do you want park hopper tickets? How many days of your trip are you planning on going to the park? Those are the things you kind of need to know before you start booking your trip. Here you can also add on water parks and some other options. We chose to do 4 park days with park hoppers because we are going to do a day at each park, but obviously the shorter park days, we might park hop to a different park, and we wanted to have the park hoppers just in case. We do plan on doing a full day at Magic Kingdom, and we plan on doing probably a full day at Epcot. Some other things that you can add on are Memory Maker. That's the photo package. I did add it on for my mom, because if we get split up, they will still have access to the photo pass, where I already have it on my annual pass. You can also choose airport transfers here if you want, but I don't always recommend that just because these buses will pick you up and they're great, but they tend to stop at multiple resorts, and sometimes it takes forever to get to your resort. So a lot of times I'll either book a private car service through a third party, or I will just Uber, because honestly, I love the function that Uber has on there where you can book in advance. And if you're traveling from an airport to a resort, you can put that in and actually put in your flight number. And so they know when you're going to land. They're keeping up with flight delays. That way you're not getting canceled or missing your ride because of that. That's what we're doing this time. And it's way faster to get to your resort. It'll take probably about 25-30 minutes, whereas on the bus, you may be there for an hour and a half. I mentioned that we got the dining plan option, and this is where you can add that onto your vacation package. Disney offers 2 different dining plan options. One is the Disney dining plan, and the other one is the Disney quick service dining plan. I really only recommend the Disney dining plan if you are absolutely a foodie and you plan to sit down and eat a lot, because it is a lot of food, and if you want to get the bang for your buck, you have to sit down and eat. Food isn't necessarily what we are prioritizing, so we chose the quick service dining plan, but we also made some reservations for sit down dining that we will just pay out of pocket. The quick service dining plan includes a resort refillable mug for each person, which is a mug that you can take around your resort and basically fill it up at the Coke Freestyle machines, and you can't fill it up in the parks, but it's nice to have around the resort. For each night of stay, you also get 2 quick service meals and 1 snack or non-alcoholic beverage. I have a few tips to maximize your dining plan too, but I may put those in the park vlogs. So at this point, we knew what we were going to do. We knew kind of our plans, where we were going to stay, how we were going to get to the resort from the airport. We had booked a trip, and I got to thinking that I know my husband very well. Our last experience at Disney taught me that he is not the guy that can travel there and just start going immediately. Which, keep in mind, we did get married the night before we went last year, so it was like we got married, we partied, we came home, slept a couple hours, and drove to the airport, which was 2.5 hours away, then immediately went to Disney Springs after we checked in. So that was a lot. But this time he's got a couple days off before we leave, and we're gonna actually fly in a day early. So I ended up having to book a room-only reservation for us to get there a day early. And I wanted to do this just so that I know my husband is rested. If I'm tired, I can rest, and we will be ready to go the next day. Naturally, there weren't any rooms available at Pop Century where we are staying for the entire week. So we ended up booking a room at Art of Animation. There weren't any mermaid rooms available, so we ended up getting a Cars family suite. And for that price, I honestly thought about staying at a nicer resort, but the fact that Art of Animation is the sister to Pop Century and we can literally just walk over sold me on it. And it'll just be nostalgic because we stayed there for our honeymoon. Another thing you may want to think about adding on if you're going during the holiday season is a party. So during Halloween, they have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and at Christmas, they have Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party at Magic Kingdom, and they have Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios. So check and see if there's a party going on during your travel dates, and try to plan around that, because I've heard that they're super fun. We decided to do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and we're actually gonna do it on the night of my family's arrival, which is another reason why I chose to go a day early, because my husband would not want to get up super early to go to the airport and then stay up super late that night. One last thing that you may want to think about is if anybody in your party needs a mobility scooter. Disney requires a lot of walking. So if you have an older person in your group or an 8 months pregnant person in your group, you may think about renting one. If you use me as a travel agent, we have a vendor who will deliver to your resort, which is what we did. So we'll be having a scooter delivered to our resort for me on our technically second day. Since I'm not super immobile, I did rent just like their very basic small scooter. It's like the travel one. So it's easy to get on buses, and I think it can fold up. If there's a day that I don't feel like I need it, like we're going to Animal Kingdom just for the morning, I may not need it that day, then I can use my discretion and either take it or not. But I'm glad that we have it just in case. All right, so you've booked your trip, you've got your resort, you've got your tickets and your add-ons. It's time to find flights. Finding flights can be pretty stressful, as you don't really know how prices are going to trend. It's almost like playing the stock market. So I always search for flights on Google first just to see what's out there. And then Google has an option where you can save your search and have them track it and send you notifications on what they think it's going to do. That way you can be notified if prices are going to drop or if they think that they're going to rise. We live about the same distance from 2 major airports, so I usually save a search for both airports. Another way you can track flights is if you have a credit card. A lot of times they will offer flight tracking. I use Capital One, and they offer a way to track flights, but also if they tell you that now is the time to book and you do it and then prices drop, you can get some of that money refunded. Or if they tell you to wait, they have a function where you can lock in a price, and if the price never drops or if they end up rising, then you pay the price that you locked in and they pay the difference. It's a pretty neat tool. So I should really take my own advice, because I waited too long and we ended up booking flights on Spirit, and I was able to use some of my points and get some pretty cheap flights for me and my husband. It's a long story. We usually fly Southwest, but prices were absolutely crazy for the week that we were going. So the way that we did it is we booked the flight. It's super cheap, but we're only allowed to bring a personal item on the plane. But the good thing in our situation is that since my parents are driving down there in an RV, we can just load up all of our other luggage on their bus. So in our personal items, we're gonna pack clothes for the next day and the toiletries that we need, and put all other essentials in our luggage that will ride down there with them. All right, let's talk about booking windows. So booking windows are kind of annoying with Disney, which is another reason to use a travel agent, because we can handle all of that for you. But basically 60 days before your trip, your window opens to book dining and Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Unfortunately, the windows open at different times on the same day. So Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique opens at midnight Eastern time and dining opens at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So my recommendation before you ever get to 60 days out is to figure out which days you're going to which parks. If you're a pass holder, you already need to know this as we're still doing the reservation system. If you're not a pass holder, you're not having to make park reservations, so you may not even think about it. But if you sit down and write it out on a calendar, I want to go to Magic Kingdom this day, I want to go to Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, whatever, then you'll kind of have a good idea of where you'll be, and then you can start looking into what restaurants you might want to go to. As I said, we're doing the quick service dining plan, so we're not doing a ton of dining reservations, but we are doing a few. And we needed to know what nights we wanted to go to Disney Springs and things like that, because that is where the majority of our dining reservations are going to be. So I'm going to pop up our itinerary and let y'all see what we're working with. So like I said, my husband and I are getting there a day before my family, and it's very close to our first anniversary, so we do plan to celebrate that while we're down there. And the first night we get there, we're going to go to Springs and have dinner at Boathouse. We ended up getting an early reservation for about 4:15 so that we can go back to the hotel early and chill out. On our second day, we didn't need any dining reservations because we're just going to be hanging out at the resort and then going to the Halloween party. The third day, our whole family wanted to go to Disney Springs, so we got a dinner reservation for all 7 of us at Homecoming. And initially, I had a reservation for like $8.55 that night because it was all that was available for 7 people. If you know much about Disney dining, it's not a super easy thing to get a dining reservation for more than 5 or 6 people. I kept checking back and I ended up finding a reservation for all 7 of us at 5:20 p.m., which is a much better dinner reservation for my 7-year-old niece. On our 4th day, we are going to Magic Kingdom, and we did want to do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique with my niece, but by the time we booked, since my family's coming in on a Monday, a lot of people start their trip on Sunday. So the way the reservation system works, you can book 60 days out, and when you hit that 60-day mark, you can then book for like your whole trip. So Bibbidi Bobbidi was already booked up by the time our window was open. So we decided to just order my niece a super fancy, like almost pageant dress that looks like Cinderella's dress. And my mom is going to put her in that and do her hair the morning of our Magic Kingdom day. And they also wanted to do a character breakfast. I have asked my niece what characters she would want to eat with, and I thought she would say princesses, but she didn't. She said she wanted Mickey and Minnie and, you know, the main guys. So I chose Chef Mickey's for them. So their reservation is super early, 7:35 in the morning, so that they can get done and get over to Magic Kingdom. Since my husband and I have already done Chef Mickey's, we decided that we wanted to do something a little bit different. I've always heard about getting a breakfast reservation at Crystal Palace before park opens, and I want to do that so bad. So I got us an 8:10 reservation for Crystal Palace. First thing in the morning, it's a character breakfast, and it's Winnie the Pooh and friends, which makes me so happy. We've been pretty busy this whole pregnancy, so we have not had a chance to schedule any maternity photos. So I have a capture your moment session scheduled for us at 9:45 right after our breakfast, and that's basically where you get a photographer all to yourself for about 20 or 30 minutes, and they can take you around to different spots in the park to take photos. So I got a cute maternity dress, and we're going to take some very cute photos in Magic Kingdom. Obviously, it's the Disney photographers. They're not editing these photos, so I can bring them home and edit them if they turn out good. And honestly, I don't have super high expectations for this. So we're going to get what we get, and we're going to have fun doing it. So I basically just got up at 6 a.m. Eastern and booked our 4 dining reservations and our Magical Extra, and I tried to get Bibbidi Bobbidi at midnight. That didn't work out. I was kind of bummed because I woke up at midnight to do that. But I will say a tip for that is if you're really, really, really wanting to get it, plan your Magic Kingdom day for as late as you can in your trip, because those dates are more likely to be available when you go to book them. Because like I said, if your trip starts on a Monday like ours does, your window is going to open a day after all the people that start on Sunday. Basically, you're going to have a disadvantage to all those people that could book one day ahead of you, even though y'all are going on the same week. So just keep that in mind. All right. Your next booking window that will open up is for Lightning Lanes. So this is the new Lightning Lane Multipass system, Lightning Lane Single Pass system. It opens 7 days prior to your trip, and it opens at 7 a.m. Eastern. If you've been around a while, you may have seen my video on how to use Standby Skipper, and we're actually going to be using that again on this trip. Obviously, it's with a different system, so it's going to be a little bit different, but I'm planning to do a video on it And so I'll keep you updated on the new way that you should use it. You can purchase Standby Skipper 30 days out from your trip, so we've already purchased it. But just keep in mind that they cannot book your Multipass pre-selections. They're only going to book lightning lanes for you on your park day. So what I did was, since I already knew what days we were going to each park, I was able to kind of go ahead and make a list of our pre-selections that we wanted. That way, when I went in to book Multipass, I was able to just choose the ones we wanted very quickly. I also made a list of any single pass rides that my family may have wanted to get. So our window opened this morning, and I went in and I purchased Multipass for our entire party for each day. And I chose our pre-selections. So when I went in and made our pre-selections, I just ignored the return times that it gave me. And then I was able to go back in and modify after I'd bought everything. As far as Multipass goes and booking it for 7 people that don't want to ride all the same rides, also tricky. So what I did was ended up pre-selecting all of the bigger like e-ticket rides that those people would want to ride for everybody. Then once I was done, I was able to go back into my Disney experience and just modify the ride for the people that didn't want to ride it. Like I took me and my niece off and got us a different ride. The thing was, I kind of wanted to line up the times. So like if they're going to ride a ride, I wanted us to be able to do something during that same time period, because there are some rides that we're all riding together and there are some rides that just some of us are riding and others are riding different rides. And I want us to be able to link up when we're riding the rides together. So I did it pretty successfully, but there are some things that we're gonna kind of have to work out on the spot or get Standby Skipper to book it for us. So the next step as far as lightning lanes go is that I've gone ahead and made a list of the rides that I want Standby Skipper to be looking for when we're in the park, so that each night that we're at Disney, I can just load that list into Standby Skipper and they'll be prepared for the next day to be looking for those. We'll see how it goes. I have pretty high hopes for it. We loved it last year, and I think that we're still going to love it this year with the new system. All right, now that your trip, add-ons, flights, dining, and lightning lanes are booked, it's time to pack. So like I said, I'm going to do a whole pack with me video, but when I'm planning my packing, I typically do the same thing every time. The first thing I do is write out my itinerary, and if it's within a week, I just open my weather app. Or if we're more than a week out, I'll pull up AccuWeather online because they have a monthly forecast. That way, with my itinerary, I know what I'm doing each day. And then with the weather, I can see what it's gonna look like each day. And those two things allow me to pick my outfits. I don't really go all out with the themed outfits, but I do try to plan my t-shirt based on what park we're going to. Since I'll be super pregnant, what am I saying? I am super pregnant. We're going in a week, but I'm going for comfort over everything. I'm talking biker shorts and t-shirts all week. I'm gonna pop up our itinerary again just to kind of go over our outfits. So day one, I'm gonna wear a comfy travel outfit. I have like a little matching set that is a sweatshirt and sweat shorts that I'll probably wear. And then I'm gonna bring a dress or something to change into to go to our dinner reservation. Day two, we're probably gonna be at the pool, so I'll need my swimsuit and cover up. And then for the party, we'll change into our costumes. We're gonna Disney bound as Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. Day three is Animal Kingdom. I'm just gonna wear a black athletic romper dress and some Halloween ears. Dylan has a black shirt that he's gonna wear and it says I pooped at Disney. Day four is our Magic Kingdom day. Our photos are right after breakfast, so I'm honestly thinking about wearing our outfits for the photos to breakfast and just being super careful about not getting food on them. And then once our photos are over, we'll just change into our t-shirts. I'm gonna be wearing a monorail t-shirt from Lost Bros, and I got some new Walt Disney World ears, and Dylan's gonna wear a Pirates of the Caribbean tee. Day five, we're going to Epcot, and Dylan and I are actually wearing matching t-shirts, and then I'm gonna wear my Epcot ears. The shirts say World Showcase Walking Club, which I realized today how ironic that is considering I rented a scooter, and I probably will not be walking World Showcase. But it is what it is. It's a cute shirt. Day six, we're doing Hollywood, and I'm actually gonna bound as Buzz Lightyear. I got these cute purple biker shorts and a lime green t-shirt and some Buzz Lightyear ears. And Dylan is gonna wear a shirt with a green alien on it that says Dad, kind of like how they say the claw. And then day seven, we're gonna like hang out at Springs maybe that morning until our flight. And so we're just gonna wear comfy travel clothes, probably biker shorts and a t-shirt again. I don't know what he's gonna wear. So that's all of our outfits. And once I kind of plan our outfits, then I'm able to go in and make a packing list. So I just write out, once again, all the clothes that we need, And then obviously undergarments like underwear, bras, socks, that stuff for me and him. And then I make a list of any toiletries I want to bring, accessories, Disney themed items, and obviously my park bag. So I said that we're doing our packing a little bit differently. Obviously, we're going to have to pack everything for those first 2 days in that personal item that will go on the plane with us. And then everything else will go into our suitcases. And I mentioned Disney related items. That's going to include things like your magic bands, chargers for the magic band, a water bottle, a fanny pack or a park bag, liquid IVs if you drink those, which I highly recommend, a Sharpie for autographs, your wallet, chapstick, sunglasses, hand sanitizer, portable charger, and anything else you want to bring into the parks with you. I made these cute little Disney survival kits. I was looking over there because they're over there and I'm not getting up to get them, but I'll kind of show you what it looks like. I'm kind of putting one together for me and my husband, but it's not as in-depth as theirs. But I got these playing card cases and I used my Cricut to put Disney Survival Kit on there. And in them, obviously they're pretty small. So in them, I put a liquid IV for hydration. I put a little thing of Dramamine for motion sickness. Enough of these bit belts for each person that is going. And this just goes on your magic band to hold it on there and make sure that it doesn't like fall off or like unsnap. Oh yeah, I also put a few sticks of gum in there, and then I put some moleskin bandages in there just in case of blisters. So I thought it was cute, and I'm just going to give one to my mom and one to my sister-in-law. So that's basically everything. I try not to overpack, especially when we're flying, and I try to only bring the essentials. That's going to be a little bit harder for me this time since we do have the option of sending our stuff with my parents. But the only extra thing we're probably going to send with them is a couple cases of water. I was actually planning on doing an Amazon grocery order to get some waters and things for the room and probably some snacks. But since we are sending our stuff with my parents, we can just put it on their bus and they have to drop my sister-in-law and my brother off at our resort anyways. So it'll be easy for them to just have our stuff and drop it off. All right, I tried to jam everything into this video without it being too long and boring. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in this stuff or you want to see what's coming next, stick around. I've got a pack with me coming up and I am going to try to do some park vlogs while I'm out there. I'm going to do tips on dining plan and I'm going to do tips on standby skipper. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you and I'll see you in the next one.